At least one new class in the World Soul Saga. Tinker, Void Hunter, and more. Doran the Truth Teller. Let's see if he's onto something here.
With the last Titan and the Titan machinery, it is the perfect time to add a Tinker, the
shorter ones than we'll raid
class,
after.
while with the Viking lore, it leaves the door open to a Rune Master as well as a Necromancer happening in North.
That's
with
right.
Midnight, we have the high likelihood of a Spellbreaker, a Battle Mage type class happening, as well as something heavily Void related like a Void Hunter.
The reason why I don't think we'll necessarily get a new class is because of the hero talents. Hero talents are essentially giving us like all the classes that people always ask for, like Blade Master or Sandlayan, like all this other shit that we're getting now. Templar for Paladins. Those are essentially like a lot of these subclasses that people always wanted. But maybe Doran's going to tell us something here
more
that I didn't think
troll-oriented
about.
Shadow Hunter that has existed in the lore. Every 2 expansions since Classic, we've been getting 1 new class, except Dragonflight where it took 3 expansions. However, 3 new expansions are coming in the World Soul Saga, which, based on the pattern, leaves us with at least 1 new class coming.
At least one, yeah, I guess, maybe.
Say, potentially multiple ones, which means we would be in for some crazy time. So, thematically, what classes could we be seeing added throughout the World Soul Saga? While playing WoW on PC is great, you can also check in on your characters directly from your phone. With this video sponsor, Awesome, you can control your PC with your phone completely free, as it is available for Windows, iOS, and Android. Check out my link in the description, download the PC version and the phone app, and just connect it. The free version itself is amazing, as you can control your desktop.
Look, guys, I still think we need some type of like caster necromantic class for Death Knights.
Anytime,
I think that's possible.
With game sound. Sure
maybe we learned that shit from the Nerubians in the War Within expansion. Who knows?
200 people. They also got a smart lock to turn off your PC at any time, as well as hot sales with up to 40% off on pro game versions.
Right, like
Check
a Necromancer.
Out Awesome. WoW has been going on for, well, nearly 20 years, which not only means we might be in for the biggest possible announcements on the 20th anniversary next year, but also that we can notice some patterns on how they had announced and introduced content so far. So, looking at it from Classic up to Legion, generally we've been getting new classes every 2 expansions. The only longer time than that was the period from BFA to Dragonflight. So far, that is how we have gotten 4 new classes in total, and what is a really important pattern to look at.
The reason why I will not play Classic is because these boys don't exist. I can only play Death Knight. What the hell else am I going to play? I am who I am. I am who I am, and I cannot freaking play anything but a Death Knight anymore, so I can't play Classic. Maybe Classic Wrath.
And what is a really important pattern to look at as well with that is that each of these classes was thematic with the expansion that was released at the time. So from Classic to Wrath, it took 2 expansions, which is how we got the Death Knights, which were obviously
I did play a little bit of that.
Then 2 expansions later, we had gotten the Monks in Mists of Pandaria, which is possibly the most thematic class ever. And then 2 expansions after that, we got the Demon Hunters, which were also super thematic, as we were obviously...
Can I just say, Death Knights, Demon Hunters, and Monks have been great additions to the game. I really think they have been. They've all 3. I can't imagine the game without them anymore. They are all 3 great classes. They are very thematic. Me personally, the Drakthir Evoker stuff, it's fine, but I feel like, you know, when it comes to like core WoW lore, I feel like Death Knights, Demon Hunters, and Monks really get into that. Especially if you're going to go Death Knight or Demon Hunter. I mean, that's an obvious one. You got Illidan and Arthas. Those are core those are core Warcraft characters. But even Monk, I think, has been a very good addition to the game.
Fighting the Legion at the time, and Illidan was one of the main characters. Then
Evokers are fine. They're fine. I feel like they were kind of smushed into the lore. I don't know. They're good though. I'm not gonna hate on them. I like the others a little bit more.
And we didn't get any new classes for the next 2 expansions, although honestly I think that is related to just 2020 and what was going on, as we also had a huge content route as well with a lot of other things. However, we did get the Drakthir Evokers right now in Dragonflight, which was once again incredibly heavily thematic and related to the expansion. So if we take these 20 years into account and how we have gotten 4 classes so far, I don't think it is a far prediction whatsoever to say that we will be getting at the minimum 1 new class, as we're getting 3 new expansions in the next 2 years, but potentially we might even be for more. We already know crazy things will be coming throughout the World Soul Saga. For Midnight in particular, the devs said we will get features that will blow our socks off, that are going to be super big and super exciting and sort of something no one sees coming. We also get another interview where they could confirm they're already working on new races being added. Interestingly enough, and of course, I mean, do keep this with a heavy...
This is why people think the Nerubians are going to be playable. They've mentioned new races being added. I mean, who knows? But we do know we're getting an elf expansion. Midnight is like a uniting of the elves. Could we find another ancient elf race or something? I don't know. Don't we already have enough elves in this game? It's World of Elfcraft now? Or like some ancient... I mean, the Arathi... You know one thing about the Arathi humans in Hallowfall, sorry? We haven't seen what they look like yet. What if they look a little bit different? We've only seen them in their armor, their paladin armor. But who knows? Maybe these fiery, light-touch people look a little bit different. They become playable. I'm just speculating.
But there is an alleged leak going around from a streamer that had a conversation with the Blizzard devs.
A leak from a streamer?
Strongly to him that they have more than one class planned for the World Soul Saga, but they can't reveal anything further than that. But
oh shit! Is that confirmed? At least one class being added in the World Soul Saga? I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's 3 expansions, so it would make sense that we get at least one.
Follow the same pattern as before with 1 class per 2 expansions, and seeing that obviously 3 expansions are coming, it is highly likely happening in the
less
last
speculative
Titan,
than usual.
But it is also possible we could be seeing it in Midnight as well, and I highly doubt a new class will happen in the War Within, especially as they're just starting the entire hero talents thing. Now, if you follow the logic, like it always...
Hero talents is why I don't think we'll get it, at least in the War Within, because those are essentially all new classes. We're really digging into class fantasy there, so I don't think we'll get one in the War Within, but we'll see.
And that is that a new class is thematic as well, so very similar to the expansion it comes in, we could be expecting a class to either be related to Midnight or the Last Titan, which kind of narrows down our expectations and what we could be seeing,
be a void-related
we already know what those expansions are about. Of course, not discounting that they could do something no one sees coming and have it something be entirely new, like a new concept like the Deacted Evokers, which literally no one could possibly predict, but I mean,
nobody
the entire Evoker thing hasn't exactly been the best thing Blizzard has done. I mean, sure, it is cool.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Evokers are okay, but they're not as I don't know. They just don't hit me the same way that Death Knights, monks, or demon hunters do. I'm not hating on anybody who plays an Evoker. They're a good class. They're needed now. You know, it makes sense, and especially augmentations kind of change the game. But they kind of feel more like they were just brought out of nowhere. I don't know.
Interesting lore, but personally, I can think of like 10 different classes I'd rather have in the game than the Deacted Evokers.
Sure, it's an awesome
all in all, though, let us look at what thematically could fit the best and what we could expect to see. If the class comes out in Midnight, we would be in for a few interesting options. We know the general outline of Midnight. Quality Lost Beast, very Elven themed, Void invasion happening. Ultimately, the entire Light versus Void battle is going to be the finale and the real focus. If we focus on just the Elven side of the expansions, I could see us being in for Spellbreakers or something akin to a Battle Mage, which personally I think this would be an amazing choice. Think of how we have like a Paladin that is a mix between a Warrior and a Priest. Well, we could have a Spellcaster that is heavily armored. The Spellbreaker is the closest to it. The Silver Moon Gods are obviously based on them. They were actually available.
Look, this whole thing about elves and stuff, I mean, we did get this image. We did get this image of, where is it? It's right here. Let me see if I can pull it up. We got this image of Illyria. See if I can pull up the image specifically. I got it right here. I was trying to make it bigger. But we got this image of Illyria where she's like got these freaking like void arrows or whatever. And zoom in more. This was from the War Within expansion, like announcement page and stuff. So you got Illyria with like these void arrows. Look at this. Like, this is not a real arrow. She's like summoning this thing. So maybe we're going to get like void hunters or something. But again, that sounds like a subspec of hunters. But I would assume maybe we're going to get some void related stuff. But like right now, Illyria doesn't look like this. When you see her in like the pre-patch stuff and everything, or the pre-cinematic, she still looks like herself, not like this. This looks like something else. Like she becomes this Void Hunter in the expansion. Please no. I don't. Yeah. Oh man, hunters. I know. Just another class that's gonna freaking pull everything. Great. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. But this is one that I was thinking about when he was saying they're gonna get another class.
To play as back
that's
in Warcraft
elf
3,
related.
they were essentially the anti-mages, hence the name Spellbreaker. Personally, I think this would be such a cool class, like a mage that could be a tank. They are supported in the lore, but the only problem I see with this is that they're after all a highly elven themed class, like a high elf only thing. I mean, you know, Blizzard is currently all about removing all race class restrictions, and they like the more general open classes, at least in the recent years, because Demon Hunters and Evokers were like the most
you feel attacked
classes.
by this.
However, I really can't see why Spellbreakers would not be available to other
Hunters
races.
are a necessary evil.
It's literally just anti-mages. Pretty much any class could learn that, even the ones that don't use Arcane, because they would only need to use magic to counter magic, not to actually spellcast, like to actually be mages. The biggest problem though is that the focus seems of this expansion to be mainly on the Void and the Light, hence the name Midnight, so I'm not sure if it would fit, but what I could see happening is that, as you may know, High Elves are like the spellcasting race on Azeroth. They could turn to their main superpower, which is Arcane, to defend themselves against the Void, so this would 100% make sense. However, what I think would make even more sense in Midnight is a Void-related class, and I think this might even be more likely.
That's what I was thinking.
Is obviously being set up as the main character for the entire saga, and I'm guessing potentially even more important in Midnight. As you may know, she was a ranger, now she's a Void whatever. So a new order of like Void Rangers, Void Hunters is
okay. I did not pre-watch this video. It's just great minds think alike. That's what it is. But I think he's getting to the same thing that I was getting to, that this Void Hunter thing.
I could see happening, super realistic. Even in the artwork,
I did not pre-watch it. Okay, there's the image that I was trying to pull up. He's got the full one here. But yeah, look at this. She's got like this arrow like flicked out of midair. She looks pretty hot too. But look at the bow even. It's like powered by the Void. This is, who knows? Maybe we're going to get some Void Hunter. We got Demon Hunter. Maybe we're going to get Void Hunter.
Artwork of the World Saga.
And it doesn't necessarily have to play like a hunter does, but this just could be, you know, a shooting Void or something.
Her with a Void bow.
Confirmed,
also, there is a huge hint of an Elven reunion, aka Void Elves returning to Silvermoon and the Sunwell. So if that happens, we could get a Void themed class from that. Even more interestingly, you might remember that Trolls have this Shadow Hunter class that used to be super important in their society, very lore supported, and this will be getting revamped quite a lot. The Trolls, the Amani, are going to be relevant 100%, as they're literally right there. As the Trolls have Shadow Hunters, Elves have the Void Elves, and Aliria the Void Ranger. We might be in for a new order, like a mix between a hunter and a shadow priest. Even more importantly, this class would fit perfectly well, as it is just cosmological based, it isn't race based, and any race could start wielding the Void and turning it to their side, and they would have,
you know what I think? If we did get like some kind of Void Hunter, I think we should also
use another
Tundra Freeze coming in with this 14 months. My
Hello,
God,
everyone.
Tundra. My God, thank you so much for the sub, man. Death Knight of our Scourge. Look, if we're going to get Void Hunters, maybe we would also get an opposite class, like a light class. You know what I've always thought about might be cool? Some type of like light-based warlock. You know, like how warlocks can summon creatures out of the void and everything like that. And what if you had a class that was like a ranged DPS that used light and could summon light creatures or something like that? A light lock, yeah. That could be something I could see happening too. Because you're in essence doing the same thing. Maybe you add a void class, so you add a light class to keep the balance. That could be something interesting. Using light ranged abilities. Like right now we have paladins that use light, but they're very melee centric. They have ranged abilities. But I'm talking like like a mage that uses the light. That could be a class that I could see happening for sure.
Used to do it, as we're facing a significant Void invasion across Azeroth. This could be like Demon Hunters 2.0, a new Void order that will be created in order to fight the Void, so fire with fire type tank.
We need a ranged tank. We do not have a ranged tank. That's possible.
Void spec to actual Demon Hunters, but I digress. There is
maybe that light mage I'm talking about summons, you know, the Army of the Light has those big mechano freaking light guys. You know, those big giant light robot things. Maybe this light thing can like summon that if he's in tanking spec and be in the light suit. Who knows? Kind of like a
Like,
Demon
now,
Hunter
other than
swarm.
this, I don't see a lot of other crazy thematic possibilities. Only
throwing
maybe
shit out
something
there.
light-based, as we'll be fighting together with the light, but we already have priests and
saying it, dude.
paladins. Only other thing I could think of right now could be maybe something Naga-based, as there are hints that they might be important throughout this expansion. However, let us look at the last Titan and what we could be seeing here, as based on the previous pattern, the new class is most likely to be released in this expansion, and here we have even more interesting possibilities. Realistically, I mean, we know a little
Surprised he
bit
hasn't
less about
mentioned
the last
Tinker yet. He probably will.
Titan than we do about Midnight, but we do
That's
have
the
the
tanking
general
class people
outline.
have always
We know
talked about.
it will be based in Northrend, very likely including a Northrend revamp. Titan based, we will see the Titan Pantheon here in Ulduar, and we will be uncovering a vast conspiracy. Here, things get a little bit more crazy. So, with Northrend, we're open to all possibilities that we've had back in Rat that could get updated, so we could be seeing the Nerubians as well, as we might be getting them as a race. Something could happen here in the War Within. The Vrykul will almost certainly play some sort of a role in the last Titan, and if we do actually get them as a
See,
playable...
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. In terms of I know we're talking about classes right now, but in terms of races being added to the game, you guys know I only play human, but if they added Vrykul, to the game, that's the one that might get me to change. Because a Death Knight Vrykul, holy shit. I mean, that is just fucking testosterone walking down the street. That would be badass. Yeah, Vrykul and Tuskar could come. I still think we're getting Tuskar before the end of Dragonfly, but we'll see.
race, we might be in for what was supposed to happen back in the day.
Vrykul,
Those are two classes that
big boy. They're basically Kultiran without the belly.
Seriously considered making, like they were
I don't think it'd be hard for them to do.
Sort of building them. One is a Rune Master, and this is something that is quite Vrykul specific, and that I do think could be super interesting. This was originally supposed to be a thing, but was replaced by actual druids. Then they were supposed to be a thing in Rat, and nothing happened, so they just added the rune stuff to the Death Knights. These guys were supposed to be like a rogue monk mix with runes that give them additional powers.
Wow, that's an interesting thought. Maybe we're gonna get Rune Master. I mean, there's. We're getting more into rune domination magic. Like, all that shit's coming to the surface with the Titans, so maybe we get somebody who's mastered them. That could be a thing.
You kind of merge some aspects of
runes are also, in the whole Season of Discovery thing is based on rune magic. Like, finding these runes. That's how Demon Hunters, that's how Warlocks can tank and shit. There's like a rune that makes it ability, gives them that ability. So maybe Blizzard's really into runes right now.
I do think this opportunity still remains. It is highly possible. However, that now leaves us to the most requested class of all time in World of Warcraft, and those are Necromancers. Necromancers have been a thing since Warcraft 3. They were heavily considered.
Yeah, this is what I said, a ranged Death Knight class. That's what I could imagine. I don't imagine Necromancers being their own class. I personally think they would be a spec of Death Knights. It'd be the ranged DPS spec for Death Knights. You'd be a Necromancer.
And then they just ended up merging them with the Death Knights. Now, I know the Scourge is kind of gone, the Lich King and all, but the Remnants are still out there in Northrend. We may be ciphering the Remnants of the Scourge in order to fight the Titans, as if Northrend has anything, it has a
I think Necromancer is more requested in Diablo than WoW as a class, but I think Tinker might be more requested than Necromancer, but it is a requested class for sure.
Shavan dead in the ground from so many battles, that could be raised. Necromancers could also very likely come to the Vrykul, as the Vrykul have their own versions of necromancy from the recent times as well.
Yeah,
personally, I think this would be an incredibly interesting concept and something that could get a lot of players excited to actually get back into World of Warcraft, as it could work great as a marketing promotion for the last Titan. On the other hand, something that a lot of people had noticed, and that is that the last Titan would be the perfect opportunity to finally add the Tinkers. Keep in mind, we know we are going to Ulduar, that is where the Tinkers would really be. These type of Titan Forge were there to maintain Titan machinery. We could be seeing them rebelling together with us, as half of our playable races are essentially former Titan servants, just like these potential Tinkers. Personally, I think this could be the most interesting playable class we could get, like turrets, machines, we could be seeing rifles and all types of mechanical weapons, something that is not related to any other class that is currently available. The biggest problem with this, though, would be making it available to all the races, as at the moment this is mainly restricted to gnomes and mechanos, potentially dwarves, and I could also see goblins building this.
Well, I mean, yeah, goblins, tinkers, and now the Horde are getting a dwarf class, or a dwarf race, right, with these earthens. So, I mean, essentially that would mean now you have more than just one race on the Horde that could be a tinker. So that now it makes even more sense. Before I would have said, oh, the Horde will only have goblins. But now they're gonna have they're gonna have dwarves too. So that makes even more
However,
sense.
I don't think a gnome goblin only class is going to
That's
be
true.
a great
Demon Hunters
idea
are only
if
2
this is going
races,
to
so
be
that's,
like
that
the
hasn't
big
stopped them
feature for the
before.
expansion.
You're
What I
right.
can see happening is to turn this Tinker into a more engineer-based class, and then it could be spread to all other races. So not really a cyborg robo-type thing, but just a regular guy wielding mechanical things, like something anyone can pick up. This could be something like we discover Titan.
And the thing about Tinker is they could easily be all 3 types of gameplay, right? Like you could easily have a Tinker tank in a Mechno suit. You could have Tinker DPS with all kinds of, machine guns and all kinds of shit like that. And then you could have a Tinker healer with like med kits and shit going out. Like it's a very easy class to create those 3 specs for, no doubt. Like they could be all 3. It's so easy to conceptualize. I could even imagine them. We've talked about this before. Imagine they get like a druid spec, like a Tinker druid. I don't know, that transforms into shit. That'd be kind of cool.
Machinery, and then we start really good for ourselves. This could additionally be thematic as well, and I wouldn't even discount a Tinker happening in Midnight.
Druids.
Keep in mind, elves have their own magical mechanical creations, like those arcane golems, which are something akin to robots.
Is there a private server with them?
Magic-based Tinker could be possible as well, although I do think it is a bit less likely. Ultimately though, that is as far as I can think of things that are going to be thematic, but of course, Blizzard could always make up something completely new, like the Dracted Evokers. I mean, we're getting hero talents in the War Within, which, while it might not be huge, it is just a start and kind of further specializing and creating.
That's why I don't think
more
we'll get a new
classes.
class in the War Within.
Some of those could replace these
stuff.
options, but I don't know if you guys know this, but there doesn't seem to be anything like mechanical or Tinker based with these hero talents, and based on the patterns we have seen, I really do think we might be in for at least one class in the World Soul Saga. Thank you for watching. Check out that we're getting playable Nubians by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on ancient Greek colonies in Spain by clicking on the screen as well.
Nice video.
See you next time.
Honestly, I started this whole video thinking I'm like, Doran's speculating. There's no way, but I'm honestly convinced we probably will get one class within those 3 expansions. That's definitely possible. Looking back on it now, I'm like, yeah. A less speculative video from Doran, definitely. A good one.